Gopi Krishna, and in this video I'll be talking to you about everything you need to know before you go and buy a new laptop. So when you generally go to a laptop store, or if you're gonna go online to buy a new laptop, the salesman or the website gives you so many specifications and asks you to choose from it. They give you generation, they give you the processor type, they give you the screen size. So I'll tell you exactly 10 things you need to be aware of before you go choose a laptop for yourself. The first thing I feel is for you to decide what do you want to use the laptop for. I like to divide it into 4 categories. One category is just browsing the internet, use Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, and use the regular desktop applications like MS Word, MS PowerPoint, and MS Excel. So all of this general stuff, if you want to use that, I feel like that belongs to one category. One category is like if you're interested in coding, another category is if you're interested in video editing, and another category is if you're interested in gaming. So depending on that, you can decide what laptop, what specifications you're looking for, okay? So that is very important. Place yourself in these groups to know what your priorities are and what specifications you should be looking for. So once you've decided which category you've fallen into, secondly, you need to decide the screen size of the laptop. So that depends on whether you're going to carry the laptop around. So you have to decide if you want a portable laptop. So in case you're a college student and you want to take it to college every day, then just make sure you have a compact laptop so you can just put it in your bag and just carry it to college, okay? So basically, screen sizes are usually 13-inch, 14-inch, 15-inch, 15.6 inches, and a few more gaming laptops have bigger screen sizes. But these 4 are the typical ones, okay? So out of these, I feel 13 is too small. So I think 14 and 15 are perfect. If you want to take it to college, you want it to be compact. I think 14 and 15-inch laptops are pretty good. 15.6 can get a little big, it can get a little bulky, so that it becomes hard to take it. Good thing about new technology that's coming up is now we have this bezel-less laptop. So what I mean by bezel is in this laptop you have this extra part, right, outside the screen, so that is called bezel. So now the new laptops that are coming do not have that bezel. So they try to reduce the bezel that's there. So in such a situation, even 15.6 inches laptops seem to look a little smaller. So in that case, I think you can still think about it, but I feel 15. I think 15 is a good, is a safe bet. Okay, so 15. So I think make sure which do you want to keep it at home, do you want to carry it around, and depending on that decide what screen size inch you need. Okay. So next, choose what the battery life is. So specifically for college students, you need to have a battery with good battery life, because when you're commuting to college, you don't want the battery to die, or when you're sitting in class and you don't have a plug point nearby, you don't want your laptop to stop serving you, right? So you need to have a laptop that has good battery life. So I think really good laptops have about 10 to 11 hours of battery life, but I think most decent laptops, if it has about 6 to 7 and more, I think it's fine. So just try to go for something that's 6 to 7 or more. Don't go for anything less, because if you look at Windows laptops, the battery life reduces after 2-3 years. So if it's 6 to 7 right now, then in future after 3 years it will only be 2 to 3 hours. So I think it's better to get a laptop that has battery life of 6 to 7. So just make sure you get a laptop with good battery life. Next thing I want to talk about is the lifetime of these laptops. So you need to decide the third thing. That is the third thing. You need to decide another. I'm going to bring in 2 categories again. One category are those people who just want to use it for college, those 4 years or 3 years you just want to use their laptop for that time. Another category is they're planning to use it for a longer time, even after they finish college, they're planning to do post graduation, they're planning to use the same laptop. or if they are planning to work also, they planning to use the same laptop. In such situations, you can assume the person is going to use a laptop for like 8 years or more. That is one category. One category is probably like 4 to 5 years, and then they dispose it and get a new laptop. Okay, so like place yourself into these two groups. If you want a laptop that lasts long, I think even though Mac is expensive, I think it's worth it because it has a really good battery life. It lasts long, so I think like if you want a laptop that lasts a longer time, I think Mac is it's worth it investing in Mac. But like I said, if you want if you're someone who likes to change laptops as soon as new features come in, or you're planning to change after your graduation, I think then you can just go for Windows. So fifth one is generation. It's very interesting. So generation, every year Intel comes up with a new generation. Like last year, it was 9th generation. This year it's 10th generation. So every year, Intel keeps bringing in new generations. So what is this generation? It's basically the technique that is used to create these processors. Okay, so these processors have crores of tungsten in it. So every year what Intel tries to do is it tries to reduce the size of the tungsten in it. Okay, so the more the size decreases, the more efficient it becomes, the lesser power it consumes, so the faster it becomes. So every year it becomes better and better. So there's no doubt about which generation to buy. Obviously the latest generation available is the best possible generation you can buy. So right now in 2020 it is 10th generation, so I highly recommend you go for 10th generation because of the speed, because of lower power consumption. So sixth, we'll talk about processors. Okay, so when you're talking about processors, what you have to understand is there are three types. Okay, under Intel, I'm talking about only Intel this time. Intel. So under Intel i3, you have i5 and you have i7. Okay, so which one do you want? Like generation, I'm not going to say just take i7 because that's the newest technology. I'm not going to say that because when it comes to processors, you need to decide on what you're going to use it for. Okay, if you just, like I said, if you belong to the first category where you're just going to use it for browsing, you're just going to use it for movies and simple stuff you want to do on the laptop, then you can just go for i3. i3, you can still go for i3 even if you're going to do like coding, it's okay, you can just go for i3. But it's obviously better if you go for i5 because i5 is good for gaming. It gives you a much better gaming experience than i3. That is one thing. So if you're planning to game on the laptop, I think like forget about i3, just go for i5. If you're planning to do coding, I think it'll be faster if you go for i5. So it's really recommended that you go for i5 over i3, but you can still get all this work done in i3 just a little slower. So i5 is like recommended. So what about i7? i7 is like if you want to do really serious gaming, serious like coding, like use really higher end applications, then you can use i7. But I wouldn't like say you have to go for i7. I think i5 is like a sweet spot. I think i5, yeah. Because i5 you can do normal stuff, you can do coding, you can do gaming. So i5, if you like, you can afford i7, then chill, nothing like it. But i5 is good enough, man. Like get i5. And so next, okay. So fifth one was generation, and sixth one was processor, and seventh one is RAM. Okay, so RAM is random access memory. So what is this? So random access memory is responsible for reading and writing. So what does it do? It takes the files to the CPU so it can get processed. Okay, so that operation is done by RAM. So for that operation to be done, your RAM has to be really high. Okay, so now if you're talking about i3 laptop, which is not that good of a processor, and if you're gonna have an 8 GB RAM, then imagine the amount of files that will be brought to this processor. Like this processor won't be able to handle so much. So it doesn't actually make sense to have an i3 processor and 8 GB RAM. So you need to understand like the dynamics. You need to like decide. So I think the ideal combination would be i3 with a 4 GB, i5 with a 8 GB, i7 with an 8 GB. But like I think if you're going in for i7, you can go in for 16 GB RAM itself. But like If you ask me, I think i5 with 8 GB is perfect. So like yeah, just go for i5 with 8 GB. Okay, so next, so we finished seventh one, which is RAM. Eighth one is storage type. Okay, this is also very important and very interesting. So storage type, there are two things. Okay, first one is HDD, which is hard disk drive, and the second one is SSD, which is solid state drive. Okay, so HDD, which is the hard disk drive, is a traditional kind of storage mechanism. Okay, so in this, what happens is you have a mechanical part in it. It's like a moving part, and that moves through many layers and tries to access these files. Okay, so since it's like a moving part, no, it can obviously be vulnerable to a lot of wear and tear. Okay, so like in case you drop it somewhere, then the file can easily get corrupted. So that is the disadvantage of it. Since it has these moving parts, one thing is the files can get corrupted if you drop it. Second thing is, because there's a moving part in it, it's more vulnerable to wear and tear. Third thing is, the speed also reduces, because obviously you have a moving part in it, the speed also reduces. So these three are the disadvantages of getting HDD. But if you're going to look at the advantages, it's pretty cheap. So that is why people generally go for HDD. But technology is the SSD technology. So the thing is, the advantage of SSD technology is that it doesn't have this moving part. So obviously it's less prone to wear and tear, it's faster and less prone to corruption of files even when you drop it. Okay, so like SSD is the best if you're considering storage. Like there's no comparison between HDD and SSD. If you want me to tell you what you have to choose SSD. SSD, the disadvantage is that it can be costly, but it's worth it. The difference can be very evident between HDD and SSD, in terms of the speed. So I would highly recommend you to go for SSD over HDD. Okay. Ninth one is display. So ninth one, under display, most of the laptops that come out today are either HD or full HD. I would recommend you to like go for full HD, which is 1920 into 1080p, I guess. I think that's a good resolution. I think we require that when watching videos, when watching movies. It's nice to have the entire experience. So I think that's great. Like go for full HD, it will be useful. Like listen to me. Next thing is all miscellaneous. Okay, I'll just tell you like a couple of things you need to. It's not like super important, but these are like things you need to know before you buy it. Okay, so generally people ask you, do you need touch screen on a laptop? I think you do not require a touch screen, mainly because if there's some kind of damage to that, then you have to shell out a lot of cash for you to like rectify the problem. I think it's like better to like not go for the touch screen, but that's like my opinion. If you're talking about the fingerprint sensor, I think that's like a good thing. Like if you can like get that fingerprint sensor, nothing like it, because it's easier. Just go touch it and then the screen opens. So I think that's amazing. Go for fingerprint sensor. The important thing is, like I said in the beginning, you have the category of video editors and you have the category of gamers, right? So gamers, you have the specific graphic card, which you can either get it inbuilt into, like when you buy it itself, you'll have a certain amount of graphic card, but it's always better for gamers to make sure they have a 4 GB graphic card installed in their computer, because if it is less than that, there's no use. But if it's more than that, amazing. But just make sure there's a minimum limit of 4 GB. And I would recommend, I think like most gamers would obviously know this, but I think there's no question of Mac at all when you're talking about gaming, because most of the games are not compatible with it. So I think like Windows is great when you're talking about gaming. When you're talking about video editing, there's nothing like Mac, because Mac is boss in video editing. Why? Because Mac already has two video editing softwares like iMovie and Final Cut Pro inbuilt into their own system. So since the hardware and like the software can integrate well, there's like smooth functioning of that application that happens. So obviously it's going to be better than you getting a Windows laptop and then installing a third party application. There'll be a little change in the amount of, little or more, like you can also see a lot of Depends on the app you use, depends on your RAM, depends on your storage type. But when you think about Mac, it's much smoother experience you have. So I think like when you talk about video editing, Mac is preferred, but Windows is also not bad. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any doubts, put it down in the comments. If you have any suggestions, I'm planning to make like another video about graphic card for gamers. I'm planning to make that next. So in case you wanna, like, tell me if you wanna listen to me talk about it. So like, put it down in the comments. And if you have any other ideas, please put it down. And yeah, guys, if you like the video, please don't forget to subscribe and please like it too. Bye.